This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Well, the Astros took a beating again last night, losing 8-3 to the Dodgers. Of course, I mean, you could say a lot of teams are going to take a beating to the Dodgers.
Fair enough.
You know, but, I mean, man, you get out hit 13-6. Ugh. Kyle Tucker with a home run. You know, ho-hum-de-dum, go the Dodgers. You know, that's just kind of what they do. They're 9 over 500, and the Astros are 8 under 500. They sure seem to be struggling more than maybe. And of course, they're really injured. Their pitching has just been decimated, but still, it's doesn't look good for the old Astros.
The outlook is definitely not pointing up at this point right now, at least.
No,
that probably stung a little bit to see Kyle Tucker homer against him last night too.
Mm-hmm. The old Astro launch, you're like, you just kind of, the rocket just kind of went off the launch pad and just kind of toppled over. Just kind of went up about 5 feet and went back down. Blew up.
Okay.
Nobody on board, just, test rocket. You see that from the early space missions down in Florida, trying to test rockets and stuff like that. They get about 3 feet off the ground and just blow up. I mean, like just massive flames everywhere. Just, shocking, the amount of money that was, spent and just blown up. Just out of left field. Just like, all right.
Just having fun with the sound effects today.
This is from Gary Parrish. He is one of CBS Sports basketball experts. This top 25 poll does not bode well for the Big 12. And again, very, 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 very early. I mean, it's only May the 5th, right? But still, I mean, you'd like to be a little further along, I think, than you are. So here's what they have, Jamie. The top 5 are very, very familiar names to you, but not anything that you'd like to hear. Number 1, Florida. Number 2, Duke. Number 3, Michigan. Number 4, Illinois. And number 5, UConn. Michigan State, Arkansas, Gonzaga, Texas, and Arizona round out the top 10. So Arizona, the biggest, I guess the best of the ranked in the Big 12 at number 10. Iowa State is at 12. Houston is at 13. And really, probably a year ago, at least 3 of these teams, or maybe 2 of them, would have been inside the top 5, and all 3 of them would have been inside the top 10.
From where they were last year, yes. Yeah, when they were all healthy.
Yeah. And then even like in the preseason, BYU is 22nd, Kansas is 25th, and there's no Texas Tech in the top 25.
It's hard to argue that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're still trying to put your schedule together, or I'm sure the schedule's probably put together, but your roster together.
They haven't shared it with you?
No. No. I
don't know what you're worried about. They don't even have a schedule yet.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, with all the football news, last week, basketball kind of got pushed to the side, but now
everything did,
yeah.
Understandably so.
Sure. But now you're kind of looking at it and going, okay, fellas, what gives? And maybe part of what gives is who's going to not step into the draft, and who's going to be available. And maybe there's some guys, outside the Continental 48 that could be available that they're working on.
I think that I read that yesterday, that there's a foreign player, a big man that they're going after.
Yeah. So it's it's time to, I'm sure they're over there working, and I don't think it's time to frantic or panic, but just when you see everybody else getting something, you're kind of like, you're sitting around the Christmas tree and they're passing out presents and there's not one coming to you.
Yeah.
It's kind of how
just trying to be patient, right?
Yeah, just trying to be patient and not trying to, lose your head in the midst of everything. And in the meantime, you kind of see what others are doing. And you're kind of like, well, okay, sure would be nice if we got something.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they'll just announce everything in one fell swoop because, look, I think we all know this around town for the most part now. The football is a seemingly open book, but you kind of wonder how that's maybe going to close in a little bit with the Sorsby news. But still, for the most part, it's a relative open book, and men's basketball is a relatively closed book. Mm-hmm. Just kind of circle the wagons kind of deal. And I would say baseball and basketball are similar, wouldn't you?
100%.
In that aspect, and and I'm certainly not being critical of that because they've been consistent on that. And so when you're consistent on that, then it's like, okay, well that's the direction that the head coach wants to go, and that's the personality of the program, and that's kind of how it works. And so, okay, got it. It's no biggie. You'd always like to know more, but you're never going to know everything, which is probably best for all of us to never know everything.
Sometimes you find out stuff you don't want to know.
Yeah. And nobody wants to necessarily see how the sausage is made per se. It's not always the best. It's not always the best look. So that's kind of where it is right now from a men's basketball standpoint. But boy, if you're looking at that, you kind of go, well, the Big 12 seems to be kind of down.
Yeah, I would agree. As of right now.
Yeah.
As of right now.
That you'd look at this and go, maybe the Big 12 isn't. But then we all know how prevalent that the Big 12 has been in college basketball in recent years, and expectations are that it will continue to be a very, very tough league. But
yeah, and I'm still not in panic mode. I think we've seen enough from the program. Mm-hmm. And if you're talking about the Big 12 Conference, I think you've seen enough from those programs to think that there'll be more added, and these teams will be much better before the season starts than they are right now.
Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is Tuesday, May the 5th, 2026. With this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
Starting us in 1925, Detroit center fielder Ty Cobb goes 6 for 6 with 4 runs, 5 RBI, and 16 total bases in a Tigers 14-8 win over the Browns at Sportsman Park III in St. Louis.
Okay.
I think it's funny that by 1925 they'd already had Sportsman Park III.
Right, yeah, right.
A second and a first somewhere.
Right. When you said that, I was like, then they're on just now Busch Stadium 3.
1969, 23rd NBA championship. Celtics beat the Lakers 4-3. In 73, the 99th Kentucky Derby was run. If I asked you to guess who the winner was, with one guess, I'll bet you could get it correct. 1 minute, 59.4 seconds, the fastest Kentucky Derby ever.
I saw a stat with regard to Secretariat and this year's Kentucky Derby that all but 2 that were entered in the Kentucky Derby had bloodlines that went back to Secretariat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Choice mentioned that
to
me yesterday. Okay. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
1995, the last basketball game at Boston Gardens. Celtics are eliminated from the playoffs by the Orlando Magic, 95-92.
Man, that I hated seeing that place go, but man, it was. I'm sure that the people that went there every night said, "Hey, it's time for us to have something nice too," because I'm sure it was uncomfortable. I mean, the stories of it being hot and cold showers for the players, and all the different things, and the parquet floor, and how it wasn't all put together just exactly right. There were spaces in it and stuff like that. But boy, it had character. The old Boston Garden.
Had history.
History too, yeah.
And in 2019, after getting it done in the later stages of the game Friday and Saturday, The number 10 Texas Tech baseball team pounced on the Sooners early to finish off a series sweep of Oklahoma with an 8-4 victory. Junior infielder Josh Young continued his tear, going 4 for 5 with 3 doubles, 2 runs driven in. Sophomores Gabe Holt and Cody Masters added 3 hits apiece as Texas Tech compiled 15 hits in the contest.
Gabe Holt still playing, Jamie?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Last time, I mean, I knew he was playing independent ball a few years ago, but yeah, I think he's done.
It is National Chocolate Custard Day. It is National Hoagie Day.
I'm a big fan of the hoagie.
And Chipotle Day.
Not a fan of Chipotle.
I like it.
Okay.
Just a couple of birthdays today. Adele is 38, and Henry Cavill is 43.
Henry who?
Cavill. He's a guy that played. He's the guy that played Superman in the not most recent movie, but the DC expanded almost universe that didn't actually launch really well. If you saw him, you would know who I'm talking about.
Okay. I believe you.
1961. Some guy decided to get on a rocket and
Shepard.
went to space and stuff, and made a very famous prayer.
Yeah. Godspeed.
Alan Shepard is the first American launched into space on this day in 1961. Lasted 15 minutes flight, so longer than this day in sports history.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some mornings it seems like 15 minutes, but
It can't be.
Yeah.
Most it can be is 10. We come in at 45. We go out at 55. Well, 54.
And that is this day in sports history?
Yeah.
That is this day in sports history. All right. Somebody asked on the Yates Flooring Center chat line with regard to professional softball and Najee Kennedy. She was the number 2 pick in the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. She's going to take a little bit of a haircut, Jamie. Players earn an average salary of $45,000, this is according to AI as well, with opportunities to earn up to $75,000 to $80,000 through bonuses.
That's good.
This represents one of the most lucrative pay structures for professional softball in the United States. Well, the most lucrative is to be in college at Texas Tech.
Probably a factor in her, deciding to leave Stanford and go somewhere else to play, right? Was because she knew even if she was professional, player, that she wasn't going to just, break the bank doing that. So
last year, the league had 4 teams. So I just kind of wonder how sound structurally they are, but they're backed by Major League Baseball. So that gives them some structure. The benefits include individual hotel rooms during the touring season. Okay.
I would consider that nice.
Yeah, sure. These salaries are designed to allow players to compete full-time without needing to take second jobs or play in other countries during the off-season. Okay. That's a little rich, but I'm sure that they are doing other things to add to their compensation. But oh, that'll be interesting. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Just think, the Rangers have been around since the 70s, and they're already on ballpark number 3. I realize Arlington Stadium was an old minor league park. Yeah. The ballpark in Arlington, they did not have enough money when they did it. They knew they needed to do something, but they didn't have enough money to cover it. And then I think once they did, they immediately probably had. Once they had built it, it didn't take very long where they had some remorse because they're like, man, we really need a roof on this thing to give the people out in the outfield and the, along first base and third, where all over the whole thing, some relief from the sun and the heat. Yeah. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. So did Stephanie get cleared by the NCAA to play? And that's my understanding, that she did get cleared to play, or is cleared to play. I think the question is, how many years does she have to play? I think that is the question. I think right now it's at least 2. I think they're hoping to claw back 3 or 4. Okay. But
even if it's just 2, that's good.
Yeah, right. So I think it's at least 2, and the challenge is starting off with a full year as opposed to a half year in the academic clock, and there's a lot that goes with that. But that's my understanding, is that she'll be good to go come November when the season begins. Okay, 6:53 this morning here on the morning drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Somebody says this, Chuck, football is not an open book. I understand that. It's not completely open. I don't know everything. But just by and large, compared to men's basketball, you know far more than what you do about men's hoops. I mean, it's the nature of the beast of the personality of the coach. I mean, it's not being critical of anybody or being overly backslapping of anybody. That's just how it is.
Yeah, also might have to do with the media members that cover certain sports. They're more dialed in to dig in for that kind of stuff, and how different programs work. The personality of the coaches obviously factor in. All of those things factor into those kind of things.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, what's the number one sport, generally speaking? It's college football. So that's what people want to know about for the most part. So we try to play the hits. Right?
Do we now?
Try. I said try.
Okay.
I didn't say we always did or that I always do. Play the hits. Somebody says, it's no big deal. Build another one, just taxpayer money. Yeah, what? Sure, right. Yeah. Build on the backs of all the tourists, man. That's the way it is. It's America. Welcome. Celebrate.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Gerry Glasco on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Service Compression. Committed to service, advanced technology, and field-proven compression expertise in the oil field. See them at servicecompression.com. Now our conversation with softball coach Gerry Glasco.
7:15 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. It is great to have you with us this morning here on the Morning Drive. This softball is extremely popular right now at the youth and high school levels as well. Yeah, I think it has been for quite some time. I think it's awesome that these women have a place to keep playing and growing the game. Yes.
No question.
No question. Yeah.
And for them to have a chance to play professionally, it's very cool.
Yeah, and I think obviously the game is extremely popular right now, and especially it's at a height here in Lubbock, obviously because of what's gone on over the last couple of years.
But I feel like it's always been.
Yes.
I feel like there's always been a lot of kids playing softball in town.
No doubt about it. I mean, and along with baseball too. I mean, you see that going on all the time. So we'll have Red Raider softball on the air for you Thursday as they will travel to Oklahoma City and take on the Baylor Bears. We'll have it at 1 with play-by-play at 1:30 from Oklahoma City. And the first matchup of the Big 12 softball tournament We'll get to Coach Gerry Glasco here in just a second on the Visual Edge IT hotline. He's eating his oatmeal this morning. Good morning, Coach. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
Were you having a little breakfast before your high intensive chat here with us this morning?
No, I'm packing my suitcase, getting ready to head for the Big 12 tournament, and I had forgot to turn my ringer on. But anyway, we're getting packed up and ready to roll here.
How exciting is it for you now to get to postseason play and you've got the regular season behind you, and you've got now nothing but postseason play and the excitement of that?
I'm so excited. I love the conference tournaments every year. At the end of the year, it's one of my favorite things coaching is to go to the conference tournament and because you get to play a team that you played 2 months ago or that you played, 10 weeks ago. And so you get to see the improvement of your ball club when you get to the conference tournament. And as always, ever since I've been a head coach, that's kind of been my favorite thing of the year is the conference tournaments. So I'm really pumped.
Coach, how special was it? I mean, you can't do it much better than throwing a perfect game on your senior day. How cool was that for your team, for Nigeria Kennedy?
Just another amazing day. You know, we've been so fortunate over 2 years as a program to get to live, you know, the last 2 years of Nigeria Kennedy's career, get to live with her every day and watch everything she does. And it's even, you know, things I wish the fans could see just how good a person she is off the field. And, you know, her concern for her teammates and make sure we do the right thing with every kid in the locker room, behind the scenes. It's just amazing to watch her. And then to see her come out and, you know, don't think she didn't have fire in her. When we lost the game to Baylor on Saturday with a 1-run lead going into the seventh inning and we lose that game. And that's what people don't understand is, like, Naja took full responsibility. Like, she's not that athlete that makes excuses and blames her pitch call or blames her sore leg or, you know, doesn't matter how tired she is, she takes full responsibility. And I come in that night, I was kind of upset, and I was really upset because I didn't want to lose the game. And, you know, we wanted to play the seniors, and Naja in particular wanted to be sure every senior got played. And that was the right move. It's just who she is. And then we end up, we have a 7-6 lead and or 6-5 lead, and we lose it 8-7. And Naja, no one took that blame more than her. And so after I thought about it about an hour Friday night, I thought, oof, Naja Kennedy will be a booger tomorrow. I would not want to face Naja Kennedy. And, you know, my pitching coach called and says, who you thinking? I said, there's no thinking to it. We're putting Naja right back out there. After she gave up 3 runs in that last inning, she will be a booger tomorrow. And you saw what she did. She come out that first inning, struck out the side, and then was just absolutely dominating and amazing, and then a tremendous leader. And I think, as bad as it hurt, and if you know me, like, I die with a loss. I can't handle it well. I don't handle it well. I die with it. And as bad and painful as it was, I think it was the perfect way to go into postseason. Just like last year when we went into postseason with a Brigham Young loss that was ridiculous and should never happen. But it reminds you that the game is failure comes very easily in a game of baseball or softball if you're not 100% locked in and ready. So I think it put us in a good spot, and I hope we'll see that. I hope in a couple 3 weeks we really even see it more. But it was a special moment for Naja, a special moment for us as fans to get to be there with her on that day. And amazingly, it was her first perfect game in a 4-year career, and it happens on the last day. Just like Hollywood script, right?
No doubt.
No. So are you glad that the draft was last night? You kind of have that out of the way, and now you can just focus on softball the rest of the way?
Absolutely. And, you know, I don't think really it was kind of a foregone. We knew that was going to happen. The only question was whether Carolina would draft a local hometown kid or whether they go with the best pitcher in the country. And they went with a really elite pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the sport, but yet, you know, left Naja for the Texas team. And I think that's due for publicity in the league and trying to get the kids regionally based. But we're competitive. We don't like being second at nothing. And so I can't wait till Naja and them play this summer. It'll be fun.
Coach, how do you feel about your team's chances to gain one of those top 8 national seeds?
We have to win out. I think if we win out, I don't see any way we're not a top 8 seed as long as we win out, because I don't think there's a softball mind in the country. I don't think there's a softball mind in the country that doesn't think we're either the best team in the country or we're one of the top 4 teams in the country. And I know RPI has been such a significant factor in seeding over the last 30 years, the history of the NCAA tournament. RPI has been a huge thing and a huge basis. But this year, RPI is not correct. And look at simply Arkansas is number 1 in RPI and they're number 7 in the SEC. So, you know, you're sitting 7th in the SEC, but you're number 1 RPI. And then you've got a team like LSU, number 10, ahead of us, but they've got 16, 17 losses. Nobody in their right mind would think that team should be seated ahead of us. And And I think this will be a year the committee looks at a lot of other factors, like how much the schedules are influencing RPI. And they're going to realize, and they're going to go by the eye test of who is the best team in the country, who's the second best team in the country, who's the third best team in the country. And I think they're going to go because what happened last year when they sent us to Florida State, really, Florida State should have been in the World Series. They were a top 5 team, and they sent us there as a 12 seed, and they knocked our great team out of the World Series that really should have been in the World Series. And I don't think they want to do that. So I feel really good about it. Now, that could be totally wrong if the committee says, we've always went by the RPI. We're going to go by the RPI this year, and they seed by the RPI. We could be a 12 seed again. We could be an 11 seed again. I don't know exactly where it'll end up.
Hey, Coach, we got about 60 seconds, so I'm going to give you 30 to answer this. Real quick. Who's the toughest competition for you in the Big 12 tournament?
Arizona and Oklahoma State. And right now, Oklahoma State's playing the best softball in the conference of those two schools. But Texas Tech's offense is Arizona's offense is tremendous. Oklahoma State has a tremendous pitcher. So it'll be interesting, but that's the winner of that game, I believe, will be Oklahoma State.
All right, Coach, thanks very much. Good luck in the Big 12 tournament that comes up. We'll have it for everybody on Thursday at 1, play-by-play at 1:30 from Oklahoma City on 92.3 The Hub. That's Gerry Glasco with us on the Visual Edge IT Hotline.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, gauging where you are with Red Raider football right now.
Okay.
It's the goal of today's Red Raider men's basketball, not Red Raider football.
Oh, okay.
That's the purpose of today's exercise. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm just going to ask you flat out today where you feel like the Red Raiders will finish in the Big 12 next season.
Today is Cinco de Mayo. It's the 5th day of May. I feel like that Arizona's ahead of you. I feel like Houston's ahead of you. I feel like Iowa State's ahead of you. I feel like BYU's ahead of you. 5th is where I feel like the Red Raiders are. That's the first number that came into my head. And then the other numbers kind of lined up with that, with the calendar, and then with the teams that are in this preseason top 25 that doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. So 5.
Okay.
I think they're in the big gooey middle of the Big 12 right now. Somewhere between like 7 and 11 is where I feel like they're sitting.
It's like the marshmallow that's not completely cooked inside of some more.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. If I told you that Christian Anderson was going to be back,
they'd be closer to the 7.
4.
Okay. I think Christian Anderson's going to be back.
I agree with you.
I'm going to say 6.
Okay.
If Christian Anderson does not come back, I would drop that to 8. But I think he will be back. And I think I have you at 6 right now.
Do you think the biggest reason he's going to be back is because when he goes to the NBA, kind of check you out thing?
Combine?
Combine, thank you.
Check you out kind of thing.
Check you out kind of thing. The combine sounds much more economical from a word standpoint. That he'll realize he's not going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah, I think we've kind of seen that already, and so I think he'll be back.
Okay. Will we get a rim protector to go with him?
Great question.
You feel?
Would you rather have a rim protector or an interior scorer?
Oh, like a JT Toppin kind of guy? Yeah. I'd probably. You know what, Jamie? I'd rather have an interior scorer. I think at this point in time, because I think you've excelled when you've had an interior scorer like that, as opposed to trying to go find yourself the 6'11" guy that can be the dominant force inside. And we've tried that, and they haven't been able to stay healthy, or they've been sticks, and they haven't been effective. So give me the inside, give me the 6'8", 6'9" inside score, 6'7". Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking the big man. Let me get somebody who's knocking 6 or 7 blocks out of in a game and forcing his will on his opponents every time somebody's down low and making everybody have to adjust their thinking when they're inside the paint. I will take that 10 times out of 10.
Okay.
We just haven't been able to get that guy, though.
I will keep trying 10 times out of 10.
Okay.
Because when you get it right and you get somebody down low like that makes everybody else take a half a beat on their shot, you win.
Yeah, I'm with Chuck. I'm taking the offensive. I'm taking the score. I'm taking the big man that can, because I just feel like with the 3-point shooters that you surround, you've surrounded him with, and what you have on your roster, if you don't have an interior presence, the defense just pushes out, and it's much more difficult to get a bunch of open threes.
The other factor that's out there is the 5 for 5. Now, that doesn't help any of these guys that have finished their eligibility, but guys that still have eligibility left, it does help. So particularly, and the guy that you want to kind of keep your eye on for this is JT Toppin. Now, we don't have anything official on Toppin yet, but we don't have any reason to believe that he's going anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so and I think everybody knows he's not going to be healthy for the beginning of the season. So if you got him, it would be January, February, March-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's not really something to look out for right now.
So, I mean, the conventional wisdom would be now that we know what kind of how the game is going to be played on the 5 for 5, which I like. I like the fact that a guy like, and there's some guys that you'd love to have back, that would have qualified in the 5 for 5, but I think it's best to just kind of move on and, go forward with it. So it would allow a guy like Toppin who says, okay, I can rehab. Maybe I can be back by mid-February and kind of be one of these late additions that could really be of great help to you down the stretch and in postseason play, and then still have one full year left. That would be awesome. And you combine that with a guy like Christian Anderson, you can make some magic there in late February and into March.
You were doing that this year.
Yeah, you certainly were. Yeah. Somebody asked the question of, do you feel like Coach Grant McCaslin's seat is getting warm? No, not at all. Not at all.
Nope, I do not.
It's only warm if he's been sitting in it, because just regular old body heat, but not from anything external. I think that's a crazy thought to me.
Yeah, I don't think his seat is hot.
Yeah, I think it's.
I was thinking more it's like a cold day, so he's got the seat warmer on, trying to get his cold car warm.
Yeah, or
that'd be about the only way his seat would be warm.
Right. Yeah, maybe he's got a little backache and turns the seat warmer on.
Oh, some massaging on it. That
Yeah.
That would be a chair I think he would have.
Yes, absolutely. 7:38 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Okay, so what if 5 for 5 gets passed, and you know that you're going to have Toppin and Christian Anderson back? Then are you a top 5 team?
I've already accepted the fact that 5 for 5 is going to get passed.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't. Not as of right now. No.
Not as of right now.
No.
Okay. 7:39 this morning here on the morning.
Because again, 90% of your season is going to be without JT Toppin.
Yeah. And we don't even know what the non-conference schedule is going to look like yet.
You don't really have a whole lot of depth inside right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I say with where you are right now with your roster, yeah, I don't think you're top 5.
Yeah, I was probably a little overzealous there. Maybe
I'm only one spot behind you.
Yeah. Somebody asked if we saw Terrence Shannon kill it last night. No, I did not. Sorry, I missed it.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you, the three of us, from the First United Bank studio here in downtown Lubbock. We'll take your thoughts and comments this morning on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open at 806-771-0973. We'll have Red Raider baseball for you on the air tonight. That'll be at 6 with balls and strikes at 6:35 tonight. They take on Dallas Baptist University, a team they faced back on March the 17th. Wow, that's kind of weird. You played them on St. Patrick's Day there, okay, in Dallas, and you play them on Cinco de Mayo here in Lubbock.
That's the craziest thing ever.
It's a coinkydink. Will there be special Cinco de Mayo hats for Texas Tech baseball today?
I wouldn't think so.
I didn't know if they'd have a little sombrero on the double T or anything like that. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
No.
I mean, you had green hats, right, for St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yes.
Well, shouldn't you have kind of like, it'd be fun. You know what would be funny? This would be funny. Of course, you know, nothing's really funny when you're under 500. But if Coach Tadlock, when he went out for the lineup exchange, if he wore a sombrero.
I don't think Coach Tadlock's going to do that.
That's really not his style, is it?
No.
How about J. Bob Thomas? Would that be?
No. They're pretty straight-laced kind of staff.
Yeah. Do you think you could? And I know you wouldn't, but what about Hacks? Hacks, that'd be right up his alley, wouldn't it?
Sure.
Sure. You know,
especially if it came with some chips and queso.
Hang on a minute. Wait. You didn't say there'd be chips and queso. This may change some answers.
Chips, queso, and a sombrero.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine there'd be too much of that tonight, but who knows? Maybe.
I mean, Shashir got the guy's he's the equipment guy, right, for Texas Tech baseball?
Mm-hmm.
He got them all green caps. Why can't we have a little sombrero on, kind of on the top of the double T, kind of just angled over? That'd be kind of cool, I think, for Cinco de Mayo. Kind of a little jalapeno on the side, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to suggest that.
There's not unlimited funds over there at baseball, so we don't get too many special occasion things.
I got you.
We gotta make sure we can afford flights and bus trips and all that. Just trying to put a team together, make sure everybody's got belts and cleats and all that good stuff.
Let's see here. 16-10 was the outcome last time around, including you got out to a 3-0 lead, and then the Red Raiders gave up 7 runs in the fourth. But what stood out to you the most about that game?
The 4-run seventh.
Yeah.
You were up 7-2 at the time.
Okay.
It just fell apart.
Yeah. That
was the game right there.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, you scored 10 runs, but just couldn't stop them from scoring.
Yeah, not at all. Adam Hayes got the start that night. Don't expect to see him tonight, do you?
I do not. Feels like right now he's going to be one of the guys that is going to get a chance on the weekends.
Yeah. Any update at all on Jackson Burns, or is that to come maybe later in the week?
I wouldn't know until they decide until they announce who their 3 starters are for the weekend. And even then, they may decide if he's, a little banged up, they'd rather use him in a different role and use him coming out of the pen or something.
And as you well know, with this week, with BYU coming to town, it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday schedule, and playing a game on Tuesday after the weekend. So you got to be careful in terms of what you use tonight, because Thursday comes quickly. Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be a lot of one-inning guys tonight.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's kind of the way and Coach Tadlock alluded to this on Sunday, it's kind of what you're doing now. You're almost pitching games now when you go into a weekend knowing you have 3 games and you only have 13 pitchers. You're almost pitching like a midweek game, meaning send a starter out there, get as much out of him as you can. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's, 4, 5, 6 innings, but get as much out of him as you can. And after that, we're just going to go inning at a time. different guy for one inning. That's what you saw the Red Raiders do this past weekend, some of that. And I imagine moving forward, you're going to see more of that.
Mm-hmm. DBU, I guess, at this point in time would have to win their postseason tournament to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I would guess so. I don't know what their RPI is, but yeah, I would guess so.
Yeah, so.
And they might have a chance to do that.
At the time when Tech played them, the Red Raiders were 13-7, and DBU was 12-9. So they've kind of held, according to Hoyle, a little bit because where they are. I think they're like 28-20 coming into this. So
correct.
And the Red Raiders are below 500. So Tech has gone the other way, unfortunately. But maybe coming out of the 9-game, breaking that up, the 9-game losing skid, maybe that takes a little pressure off the guys and they swing a little more freely, Jamie.
Well, I mean, obviously there is pressure on the guys. If they're going to get to the postseason, they've got to play well and find a way to, win the Big 12 tournament. So there is pressure there. That's not going to ultimately go away. But can they play more relaxed? That's what you're hoping to see. I thought you, I thought you started to see that on Saturday night in the second game of the doubleheader. I thought it carried over into Sunday. So hopefully it just keeps building.
Yeah, keeps building and kind of see what transpires, not only tonight, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, as these will be the final games of the. That's right. Am I right about that? The final home games. Yeah, final home games of the season, and then travel to Cincinnati, and then it's a Big 12 tournament time. Hopefully for the Red Raiders, they're in a tie right now for the last spot with Arizona, and as you pointed out yesterday, Arizona's got an easier task, finishing up with Houston and Oklahoma State, while the Red Raiders finish up with BYU and Cincinnati. So, gotta kind of hope that the Cougars find a way to get some extra oomph, and you have the extra oomph that you need to win a series over BYU, right?
Yeah, at this point, you're just, again, as I've said before, at this point, you just want to figure out how to play consistently good baseball, because even if you somehow found a way into the Big 12 tournament, you don't want to be just some sacrificial lamb in the first round. So if you found a way in, so you just focus on you and worry about playing good baseball at this point.
Hey, worry about X, and because it's a big job to worry about X.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.